Hey night owls. Well, it may not be night owls for you, but it is for me. The kids are asleep, everybody's quiet, I can do a little crafting, and so we're gonna do a little Christmas crafting. And this is the cutest little bag to put a gift in for somebody. Very simple. I whipped it up in just a few minutes. You could make this more ornate. You could do anything you want to with it, but I just wanted to show you this cute little... So on the corners of the bag, we're going to use our corner round punch, and you just place your bag in and then punch it. I did that a second ago off camera because I felt like I needed to do them a little bit separate. So that's corner round punching that. Very cute. Now for the paper cover, which you see here, I just took a simple piece of the cardstock that we're using, and I cut it to a 5 by 6 3/4 because I like this little red edge to show her on the sides. So I'm going to take this and use my trusty ATG gun. I don't always use ATG, but for something like this that's going to be quick, it needs a lot of adhesive, I do like to use ATG. So that should hold it. We're just going to adhere this down, leaving a little bit of that red edge. Now, to make this really easy, because if I don't have to measure, that's great. We're going to lay this down. We're going to eyeball the edges to be pretty straight. And using our bone folder, we're going to crease that up really nice and tight. So we'll set that aside. Now, let's work on the bow section. And it gets a little more in detail. The paper strip we're going to use is 2.5 inches by 12 inches, but we're actually going to cut this in half. So you can use your paper trimmer to do this, or because you are in kind of a hurry, you can bone fold it, open it up, and just use your scissors to cut this in half. Pretty forgiving on this part because you're not going to see this anyway on the edges, but if you were to do it, it would be a 2.5 by 6 inch piece that you would cut. So now we're going to get our scoreboard out. Mine is the Martha Stewart scoreboard. I'm going to bring that over. Now, very simple. We are going to score on every dot. So there's a dot. See the dot? There's a dot. Another dot. Just score every dot. Goes really quick. So what we're going to do is we'll score this first little piece under. That's not a problem. And then you just start to accordion fold. Accordion fold. All the way down. Goes really quick. Especially when you're doing the bigger kind of piece of candy looking type dealy, and look how cute that is. So I'm going to set those aside for now. So we have 2 of these little guys, and I'm going to set them aside. We'll come back to those. That way we can move our scoreboard out of there. Now then, I told you we're going to use a couple of the circles, and what I'm going to do, if I can find it, there we go, is use just some white paper. You can see I've used this one earlier. We use some white paper and do a 2-inch scallop punch. Really simple. This is the close to my heart scallop punch, and I like this. If you're punching several of these, it holds it inside, so you can just slide this and grab it in and out. So that's pretty nice. So now let's do some stamping. And we're going to do several different things with our stamping. 2 different inks today. We're going to use olive and tulip for our red. Now on my little bag that I did earlier, I did the joy in olive, and I did some sponging around the edges in the tulip. So I'm going to show you how we do that. So first we'll take the olive, flip that around, and my joy stamp. These stamps are beautiful, especially I love this design on these letters, and you'll be able to see it. I'll show you up close. Love these stamps. Look how beautiful that is. So pretty. Let me bring it up to you so you can see how that looks. I think it's so cute. Now then, for this portion of the stamp to be able to kind of show the color around the edges, because I'm just using white paper, but I wanted it to coordinate with my stamp in the middle. I'm taking one of my sponge Pac-Mans, that's what I call them because they look like little Pac-Mans, and I'm going to squish it down into my ink. And sometimes when you ink, you just kind of ink the edges like this, and that's fine too, but what we're going to do today is we're going to go a little deeper with it. And that's so when we put the round circle on, we'll see mostly green, but not a solid perfect green. Just mostly green. That's going to be hidden. All that in the middle that doesn't look quite as pretty is going to be hidden. So once we put our circle on, I'll bring you down a little closer. Once we put our circle on, all that'll make sense. So we're through with our olive. The tulip. And I have another little Pac-Man just for tulip. You can see it's got red on it already. And we're going to go right on the edges. Now this time I'm just edging. I'm not really trying to get as much color as last time. Not as wide. If you do though, it's okay. Because it's handmade and that's how we want it to look. So there's that. And we can move the tulip ink out of the way. Okay. So let's adhere these together. And I'm going to use my Bonding Memories from Close to My Heart. And you just put a little on there. Now if you wait till this is dry, you get a temporary bond, but I want a permanent bond, so I'm going to do this while it's wet. And stick that on there. You can see how cute that is. And it gives it a nice green edge, which I really like, so alright, we'll move that out of the way. Now it's time to work on these guys. Now, I do not want to confuse you on these. These, you can adhere these any way you see fit at the bottom, but this is the way that works for me. I like to lay them flat, use my ATG gun, grab it, roll it down the edge, and then accordion it back on itself. And that adhesive will grab. And you can spread it. Okay? I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to run a little extra on one edge and a little extra on another edge. And then stick them together. Now, see how these sides are poking up because we only adhered the inside? The other thing we're going to do is take a piece of scrap cardstock. I'll show you this. It's a piece of scrap that we had from some project at some point. Run some adhesive on it after we make a mess. And stick it to everything. Put these back together and we're going to make a little belt that's going to hold these together. And it seals right up on itself. See the little belt? And it's holding. You can see we just wrapped it around. Perfect. Okay, so now we have our little peppermints and we have our little joy. I'm going to use glue dot for this. I think the glue dot holds this a little bit more secure. So here's our glue dot. And you can do this whatever way you're used to doing a glue dot. I'm just going to put one on one side and one on the other. And then I'm just going to place it so that the glue dots touch. You can look underneath to make sure they're going to touch, but I can feel that they are. So there's our peppermint candy sort of thing. And we'll use our glue dots again in a minute. We'll get there in a second. And now I'm going to set this aside. See, on my first bag, I have a little Christmas tree here. I'm going to show you how I did that little Christmas tree. Really simple, I'm telling you. It's late. Maybe I'm running late for a party. I'm trying to do something cute and quick. This is what I would suggest. So I'm going to use my Stays On, my black Stays On ink, because it really, really stays on. And I may be the only weirdo in the group, but I also love the way this Stays On ink smells. Crazy. I know, I'm crazy. Okay, so Christmas tree stamp from our stamp set that we were using that I showed you earlier, which is so precious. You can see that. And this one again is Christmas Love. So the Christmas tree. And we are going to just stamp that on. Get a nice, good image. Rock it a tiny bit to be sure we get all the edges. That's beautiful. I don't know how you feel about freeform cutting, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my tiny little, precision scissors, and I am going to freeform cut around this Christmas tree. If you have the Cricut cartridge, Art Philosophy, there are stamps that coincide with cutouts. This would be a good time to use one. So that cuts that out. Somehow I got a little tag. Let's get rid of that little guy. And that gives us our Christmas tree. So to adhere it, these scissors come with this nice little cover. I like that cover. To adhere this to our bag, I want to use some of my foam, my 3D foam tape, because I want to get it lifted off a little bit. Now I don't want to use my good scissors for this, so I'm going to bring the big boys back in and use this guy. And I'm going to cut this piece in half because I got a pretty good sized piece. Flip my tree over. I'll put one piece here and one piece here. Now earlier, and then on this, most of you know on this foam tape, you just peel off the backer and it's ready to go. Earlier when I made the bag, you might have noticed that I didn't open the bag, and this is the reason. I didn't open it because I want to have something to be able to smash this guy down onto. This way, I'm not flattening out my bag. I want to show you this technique. This is one that one of the girls I like to watch on YouTube, she does this. She kind of picks up her glue dot with a bone folder or something that she has handy. I'm going to use my scissors for it. Then you can place it exactly where you want it, since it's a little hard sometimes to just put the item onto the glue dot and know where it's going. And then I'm going to put one more in the middle just for good measure onto our little band that we put around this guy. Okay, I'm going to place this onto the bag at the top, trying to center it. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered, and I'm also even kind of making it off kilter, which I think is kind of cute. Open your bag and fill it with a gift. Isn't that cute? I think it's very cute. Let's go out a little bit, and I'm going to show you the other one. So now I have two, and I made these in just a matter of minutes, so I could do 2 presents in 20 minutes. I could have them wrapped up. So I hope you enjoyed this project. Very simple, very easy. I kind of used a lot of different things to make it happen, but you can do this in your craft room in just a matter of minutes. So hope you enjoy. It's another part of our holiday series, so have a good night. Bye-bye.